Hey everybody, Horseman here, and this video is going to be highlighting the last of the Necromancer sets, the Plague set. Now, I will be giving you the actual name to it here shortly, but I did want to highlight what it is, what it's all about, a quick run through in a rift, as well as what it has to offer. As you can see, it has a pretty unique appearance. It looks like the old plague doctors from a long time ago. It's got that corrosion all over the armor, the potch marks from battle, and again corrosion. And I do like it, but this set is not one of my favorites. Not only in appearance, but also because of its abilities and its bonuses. Now, the reason why this has taken me so long to do is because it did not perform very well, and there was a lot of negative feedback. And compared to all the other sets, I was not able to get a good build in prior to this latest patch, and it was just nothing feasible that I could really muster out with the bonuses that we got. Let's take a look at them. This is called the Pestilence Master's Shroud. That's what this particular set is called. The two-piece is going to say that each corpse you consume fires a corpse lance at a nearby enemy. So anytime that you consume a corpse, whether it be through devour or corpse explosion or anything that is going to utilize the corpses that are left behind, it will launch a corpse lance at the nearest enemy. Now, Corpse Lance is an interesting ability. It'll explode the corpse and send the debris in the form of bone spikes to an enemy, and it does a fairly substantial amount of damage. I mean, it's really, especially early on in the game, it's a very good ability. It's neat looking, and it feels like artillery because, I mean, you can pull it right off. You can pull off those corpse lances from off screen, and it just kind of looks really neat. They zoom across the screen and hit your target, and it looks magnificent. The four-piece: each enemy you hit with Bone Spear reduces your damage taken by 2% up to a maximum of 50%. Lasts 15 seconds. So you're going to have that ability to utilize your Bone Spear because it does pass through enemies, and you're going to boost up your toughness, and you're going to become harder to hit. Nice. The six-piece: each corpse you consume grants you an empowered Bone Spear charge that increases the damage of your next Bone Spear by 1,000%. Now, this is one of the main reasons why I'm using Devour, because I'm essentially going to be having that bonus on it quite often. And I think it's nifty, but of course, I'm still very new to this build, so I'm not going to be utilizing it probably as good as I should. But anyway, these are the different passives that we're going to be gaining. Now, before I get into any more details, what I'm going to also discuss is the weapons that I'm using, as well as the ring and ambulance that I'm using. Now, first of all, I like this ring. This is Brig's Wrath. I was also using it with my Bones set. And the reason why I like it is because anything that is uncursed, when I do apply a curse, which in this case I'm using Decrepify, it's going to pull all of those enemies into a single location, which is great for my Bone Spear. Because once I put that through them, summon a piercing bones projectile that causes damage to all enemies it passes through. The damage is increased for each enemy it passes through. So not only am I getting all of those extra bonuses, but it's also increasing my armor with the set passive, and it's all happening all at once. So what I have found is that I was able to do some substantial amount of damage, as well as getting all of that defense buffs by utilizing this ring. So the reason why I'm using Crispin's Sentence is because of its passive ability. Bone Spikes, Bone Spear, and Bone Spirit deal 126% increased damage against enemies that are stunned, frozen, charmed, feared, or blinded. So first off, I'm using Enchantress, and she does really cool stuff. Okay, but the stunned here is what I'm really going for, because if I utilize Bone Armor, Dislocation, enemies hit are also going to be stunned. So if I play this right, I can go in there, push that active ability on my Bone Armor, it'll stun the enemies, drop my curse, It'll bring them all together, and then I can start wreaking havoc with Bone Spear, which will in turn kill things using my devouring aura, which will consume the corpses that are on the ground to launch Bone Spears, which I also gain bonuses for consuming corpses. So it's a nice kind of cyclical type of build, and everything just kind of happens. Alright, the weapon that I'm using, Bone Spear, now costs 40% essence and deals 141% increased damage. So I will be getting some more damage out of here, and there is a maximum of 150, so it's not too bad of a roll. Bone Spear normally only takes 20 essence, so it is doing double the amount of essence cost, but I'm getting more than twice, or I'm getting a lot more damage out of it, so I'm getting a good deal. I think it's a great trade-off. And the amulet that I'm using, the Johnstone, each corpse consumed in the land of the dead increases your damage by 10% for 10 seconds after it ends. And that also has a maximum of 10, so that was a decent roll. Alright, the reason why I'm using this is because of the Land of the Dead, and I think this is going to be a great ability to amulet to use, especially in Rift Guardians, because when I pop that Land of the Dead, so I'm going to get all those corpses, which are going to in turn be used by my devouring aura. And you see all that green smoke? That's me consuming the corpses. So that was a lot of corpses that I'm going to be consuming. And the reason why I'm getting all of those globes is due to passives, and I'll go over those in a second. But in essence, all of those corpses are getting consumed, and then they're also going to be launching the corpse lances at the nearest target. So again, this combination is going to be great for Rift Guardians if utilized properly. Again, one of the main reasons why I'm using Decrepify is for that borrowed time, and also so that way I can get everything to get pulled together, slowed. I mean, it's just a slew of awesome effects. Okay. I kind of already gave you an idea as to what my build is going to be looking like, especially in combination with the different armors that I'm going to be using. I'm using Bone Spikes as my primary essence generator because, I mean, let's face it, corpses are a crappy resource, and it's not going to be something that's going to be consistent, especially on single targets. So it's good to have some type of essence builder, because Bone Spear is going to be my primary essence spender, and I'm going to be utilizing that in order to do all my damage. Devour with Devouring Aura. So every single time a corpse is on the ground and it goes within my aura, it's going to be automatically consumed, which will launch those badass corpse lances at my target, and that's really what I'm looking for. Land of the Dead normally has a 120-second cooldown, which is kind of crappy, but due to cooldown reduction, Ring of the Zodiac, and some other things, I'm hoping I can get that back and available to me fairly quickly. Plague Lands. Land of the Dead deals damage to enemies over its duration, so anything that is caught within the Land of the Dead is also going to be taking plague type damage. My Bone Armor Dislocation is also a plague ability, and you'll notice I have a bunch of plague abilities, and there's a reason for that, and I'll get into that here shortly. The Dislocation I do like because of the fact that it does stun enemies, and because it stuns enemies, it's very useful for a variety of reasons, especially for this particular build, in which I have already covered. Decrepify, I've also already discussed, will slow my enemies and reduce the amount of damage that they will do. And in this case, with Borrowed Time, it gains the cooldown reduction for every enemy cursed. Alright, so now my passive skills. Fueled by Death. There is no extra movement abilities with this build, so having Fueled by Death is going to help just try to get through things a little bit quicker. So consuming a corpse increases my movement speed by 3%, and since I'm going to be constantly consuming corpses, I'm going to have this speed boost up there for a pretty good long time. Alright, Serration, Bone Spikes, Bone Spear, and Bone Spirit deal 1% increased damage for every 2 yards from me, up to a maximum of 15%. And again, because I'm going to be constantly utilizing my ranged abilities, I should hopefully have enough distance between me and my targets in order to do maximum amount of damage. Since I have no pets, I want to have an extra bit of armor. So in this case, I am using Standalone, which will increase my armor by 100%. and it is reduced by 10% for each active minion, but I have no minions. Now, the reason why you saw all those health globes spawn was because of this. Life from Death. Consuming a corpse has a 20% chance to spawn a health globe, which in turn is a great benefit utilizing the Reaper's Wraps, which also replenishes my essence. So again, it's all cyclical. I'm also using this belt. Decrepify gains an additional 20% damage reduction for attacks against me. So again, it's just more damage reduction. That's going to be very helpful in killing stuff. Alright, so this is Torment 12, but I will not be showing you guys a Torment 12. And the reason for it, because again, I'm still very new with this particular build, and I do not want to record a catastrophe. So I'll be going a little bit light. Last time I did a Torment 5, and I blew through it very quickly, so for the sake of demonstrating how this build actually functions, I will go ahead and do a Torment 6, and just to, again, give you an idea on how it works. So I'm not trying to show you guys that this will work in a Griff 90 or anything like that, okay? Alright, enjoy!
grave beckons. The grave beckons.
The Rift Guardian is here!
Alright folks, so that's pretty much how it performs in a Rift. Again, that was a lot lower than what I normally do with the bone set, but again, I'm still kind of learning this particular set and how everything works together. As I've explained, this build for the most part is very cyclical, and it builds upon itself based on how everything just really interacts with each other. And it's a very nifty way of doing things, but one of the things that I did forget to cover was what I have in the cube. So I had stated before that I have a lot of Pestilence type of abilities, and the reason for that is because of the Death Scythe. Each different poison skill you use increases the damage of your poison skills by 100%, so I'm essentially, once again, building upon, by using my abilities, I'm building upon the damage of itself. I mean, it's just kind of just getting bigger and bigger and bigger exponentially. I'm also using the Corpse Whisper Pauldrons. Corpse Lance damage is increased by 20% for 3 seconds when you consume a corpse for a maximum of 15 stacks. Once again, as I consume those corpses, the Corpse Lance, which is going to be something that is automatic due to the set, is going to be just doing that much more damage. And of course, I'm using the Obsidian Ring and the Zodiac. There's plenty of rings, but I feel that I'm using the ring that is good for it already as it is. Now, I could use the Convention of Elements, but again, I felt that this was going to be better due to the Land of the Dead. As you saw with this particular build, Land of the Dead is going to be a very useful ability in order to get those corpses, especially if I'm trying to do a good amount of single target damage. I did not use Land of the Dead against the Rift Guardian, but again, it is a very good ability, especially if I'm trying to go single targets. Getting all those extra abilities and attacks in on a damage or on an enemy is going to be very, very, very beneficial. So anyway, that's it for this video. I hope that you enjoyed what you saw, and I hope that this gave you a good insight as to what to expect. This does wrap up all of the sets for the Necromancer. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, please post it in the comment section below. Please throw them a like. It helps me a lot. And also subscribe for more as I continue my progress through the Necromancer beta. As always, if there's anything in particular that you would like to see or test out, please put it in the comments section once again, and I will do my best to make a video of it within 1 to 2 weeks. So all right, well, that's it. Thank you for watching. Horseman out.